Hello, everyone. Thank you all for joining us today. It is a new year, and we are very excited to be back, bringing you an all-new 3-episode season of our Dine Around Downtown Cooking at Home Edition series. My name is Ron Dijon, and I am the event manager at the Downtown Alliance. Now, for those of you who don't know, the Downtown Alliance is the business improvement district for Lower Manhattan. And what we do is we help to make downtown a cleaner, safer, and more vibrant place to work, live, and visit. And this includes providing support to local businesses, especially during these unprecedented times. Dine Around Downtown Cooking at Home edition is part of our continuing efforts to provide such support, in this case, to local restaurants and food security charities that have been impacted by COVID-19. Now, today, you can help too by donating to Rethink Food, which is a food security charity chosen by this evening's featured restaurant, Crown Shy. And every contribution is greatly appreciated, no matter how big or small. Each gift can help make a difference. So check out their website, which is rethinkfood.org. I'm also going to share that in the chat box with you guys. And go ahead and donate what you can, and you can find out more information by that link that I just shared. Okay, so a couple of housekeeping things that we need to go over before we officially begin. Just wanted to let everyone know that this cooking demo is being recorded, and we will send out a video link to everyone via email who signed up. Regarding Q&A, during the demo, if you have any questions for our guests or our host, you can submit them via the Q&A feature. Now, if you are using a desktop or laptop, this is usually located at the bottom of your screen. And for those of you who are on a phone, iPad, a tablet, you can tap once and it should appear on the top right corner. Sometimes it's at the bottom, depends if you're using an iPad or a tablet. And then there's the chat box. So in the chat box, that is where we will be continuing to share helpful links, websites, and other detailed information throughout the program, like our Post Your Plate contest. And that I'm going to share with you right now. The Post Your Plate contest is for those of you who are cooking along at home or either today or perhaps maybe over the weekend. If you post your plate on Instagram, you can enter to win a 30-minute private virtual cooking class with one of tonight's guest chefs by simply using hashtag Dine Around Downtown at Home and tagging @DowntownNYC. And don't forget to tag the restaurant at Crown Shy NYC and our chefs, which I will also share with you. And for more details, check out the link that I shared in the chat box and share those photos because we would love to see your masterpieces. All right, and with that, let's get this party started, shall we? It is my pleasure to introduce award-winning chef, author, and a man I happen to share the same initials as, I realize. Please welcome your host, Rocco DiSpirito.
Hello, RD. How are you? It's RD coming to you from sunny California. Welcome, everybody, to the 2021 edition of Dine Around Downtown. Today, we have the unique pleasure of hosting Chef James Kent and his sous chef Doris from Crown Shy. Now, this is a restaurant that came hot onto the scene in 2019, earning 3 stars from the New York Times, 1 star from the Michelin Guide, and the love and devotion of thousands of New Yorkers who have made it their second home, as it were, obviously pre-pandemic. But the great news is you can enjoy Crown Shy today in one of its beautiful yurts. I've been to the restaurant. They have these cozy and lovely yurts that line the streets of Pine Street in the Fidei district. And they're super cozy, super fun. They were decorated meticulously. They're lit. There's candlelight. There's faux cashmere. There's real cashmere. It's super luxurious and cool. And the food, of course, is insane. James Kent has done everything the right way. At just 15 years old, he was an apprentice at the famed Boulay under David Boulay. He has gone to the culinary schools of Paris and London, worked for Jean-Georges, Gordon Ramsay, Daniel first place in Bocuse d'Or, which is a really insanely hard competition that takes place in the name of Paul Bocuse, of course, the great chef Paul Bocuse. And it's a worldwide cooking competition that is pretty hard to place in at all. And earning first place is basically insane. And James, you are an over-accomplisher if I ever met one. Joining him today will be Doris, his sous chef, who's from London, also started very young at 15 years old, moved to New York City in 2016 to work at Nomad and then Crown Shy. And India and James have asked us to send our donations to Rethink Food, a food security organization. As you guys know, food security is a bigger issue than it ever has been, given the pandemic and all the issues that it's created. 1 in 6 people now in the United States are facing food security issues. We've got a lot to get to, so I want to get right to James Kent, who's going to be cooking from his home and showing us how to make the signature dish, the Crown Shy chicken, which is absolutely delicious. I watched you do a demo of it, Chef, and I can't wait to try it myself at home. Without any further ado, Chef James, welcome to Downtown Alliance, Dine Around at Home, and let's get started. What do you got for us, Chef?
Rocco, thank you so much. Downtown Alliance, we love you guys. Without you, we wouldn't be here. These guys helped us close the street so that we can get yurts on the streets. So literally, we would have not have any guests to serve without them. So that's why we are here to support. So we are doing our crown bird. So I'm starting with some gloves. So these birds are heritage birds. We get them from Pennsylvania. It's a green circle chicken. So this is something that we worked on for years. And we would send scraps from our restaurant to the farm and they would finish the feed. And it's basically this full circle that normally happens on farms. They use all the leftovers and they feed the chicken. So we did that. We sent it to the farm in Pennsylvania. And then they finally learned how to finish these birds. So we have these amazing birds. They're very special. And so
now, Chef, green circle birds are something that are available to the public now, I believe. Is that correct? Yeah, so I think is that through D'Artagnan or
D'Artagnan,
through?
Yeah.
Yeah.
D'Artagnan.
So you guys at home, if you want to cook with the same bird, and by the way, that is a key element to getting this dish right, is cooking with the correct ingredients. If Chef James spent probably months, if not years, figuring out which bird is the right bird to cook with. So take advantage of that little bit of knowledge.
Yeah, I think also okay, so in Crown Shy, we use kind of normal ingredients, things that everyone understands. Like everyone eats chicken, but we find this really great bird that we care about. We know the farmers, we know the people that bring it to us. And so it's kind of how we treat everything in the restaurant. Like there's nothing that's luxurious. We don't have truffles, we don't have caviar, we don't have things like that. But the things that we do have are things that we really, really care about. And so what we're doing here is we're cutting the bird in half. 2 halves.
And Chef, I noticed you start from the top of the bird. Any reason for that? You cut the bird in half from the breast down, which is unusual.
For me, I want to cut through the spine, that center, kind of soft cartilage. And I feel like I get a better opportunity from the top. And for this, you want to cook it with the ribs on. The rib protects the meat. So we leave these bones on. And then we debone the leg. I hate gnawing legs and eating chicken drumsticks. It's not something I really love. So, and we're a fancy restaurant, so we make it easier for people. So we essentially take out the bones on the bottom and keep the one on top. So this is ready. So then I'm going to do it a little bit different. Realistically, this marinade that we're doing, you could use on lots of different things. You could do it on pork chops. We're doing chicken wings for the Super Bowl. You can literally just go get pieces of chicken. Here, I'm just going to cut it a little bit differently in a more traditional kind of portion where you have the thigh and the leg. And then I would cut this in half, kind of like that. And I'm going to grill it. I have this little fancy grill. And hey, if I smoke out my place and, we start hearing
the alarm goes off, we'll know not to call me.
It's going to bark. Yeah. It's going to be a problem, but there's a possibility that that's going to happen. So we'll have some excitement. So these birds are ready. I'm going to take my gloves off. And so there's a restaurant on the Upper West Side called Florida Mayo, which is a place that I've been eating at since I was a little kid. I grew up in the city. My mom was in Greenwich Village. My dad was on the Upper West Side. And so it's a really kind of simple restaurant, and it's Cuban and Chinese food. And it's not like a hybrid. They just do really good Chinese food and really good Cuban food at the same restaurant.
So not Chino Latino, but Chino and Latino at the same time?
It's not like, it's not.
Not like Caridad?
No. So basically, this chicken, it's like a Peruvian style. It's brined, it's delicious. So when we opened this restaurant, at my previous restaurant, we had like the fanciest bird in the world. It had foie gras, it had truffles, it was very expensive. And I'm like, how do we make the simplest, but still really like care about it? So we kind of pulled from this inspiration as a child, from my childhood, and kind of ran with it. So here we're gonna make a brine.
It's amazing.
Lemon, lime, orange, grapefruit, ginger. I drank half of this earlier, a little bit. So we have Scotch bonnet chilies, which are super spicy. We have jalapenos, shallots, star anise, coriander, and black pepper. And with this brine, we're gonna try to break up the chilies, but not like pulverize them. You know, like the more that you blend it, the spicier it's gonna be. So if you like it really, really spicy, these habaneros, like you eat it, you're gonna suffer for the next week. And I don't love spicy food. I think it can sometimes like overpower things, but I do love a little bit of heat, and that's what we have here. So I'm gonna start with these spices. I'm gonna start with lemon. I have my sink right next to me. Lime.
It's a whole lot of citrus.
Yeah, it's a lot, you know, and the thing is you need to be careful with because it can cook the bird. Like we do it for 24 hours and think of like a ceviche that you like actively cook these proteins. If you keep it in too long, you know, when we R&D'd the food, we were on the top of this building on the 60th floor working for like 3 or 4 months trying to get the food right. And we did 5 or 6 different brines. We left it for 2 days, 3 days. And you saw that this is like the sweet spot. And for you guys at home, like you could do it a shorter period of time. If you need to do 12 hours, it still adds a lot of flavor. But I think what we found out that 24 hours is like the sweet spot.
Chef, I think it's important for the people who are watching to know that any marinade for any amount of time will make a big impact. Don't you think, Chef? A marinated bird versus a non-marinated bird is a real big difference.
100%. It's interesting. We did like a Greek marinade with lots of garlic and onions, and we did like an Asian one. And like I don't understand the science. There's some osmosis, something that we learned in like 7th grade that is happening here that is basically pulling salt in, but it's also bringing the like capsaicin, like the heat from the chilies and the citrus. Because like we did 5 of them, and this was the one that everyone was like, that's the one. The other ones were like, it tastes good, but this like permeates like deep into the core of the protein.
And does this act as the brine as well?
Yeah,
is this the brine and the marinade?
So this is a 4% brine. So we have salt here also. So basically, if it's a liter, it's 4 grams of salt. And that's like a pretty traditional brine. Like we would brine pork bellies with just water and 4% salt and put it in the fridge for 24 hours. And that just gets seasoning into it. Here, this gets a lot of other things. So we have the jalapenos, and like we keep all the seeds. You know, the seeds, like we throw them in. Let me just pull this little piece off, so we don't want that. You know, I
love the tip of not blending it too fine to keep the heat restrained.
Yeah, because trust me, we learned that. We buzzed the crap out of it, and it was like, wow, it's like it's way too much. But all the other things were right. Salt was right, citrus was right. The sweetness from the orange and the grapefruit, the bitterness, like all those things worked, you know, so then we had to, so shallots, a little bit of ginger, and then this salt. And
almost has a Caribbean flair to it.
Yeah, you know, like it definitely does have like a Creole, Caribbean, Jamaican jerk chicken kind of thing. You know, like we get inspired. Initially, it was this Peruvian chicken that is just brined and really delicious. And it's like, how do we make things really special? And like I said, it's what we do in this restaurant. Like a chicken, we all can go to the market and get a chicken, go to Whole Foods, go to any restaurant, get a chicken. But how do we make it just a little bit different, a little more nuanced? You know, and those are the things that
the details that make the Michelin difference.
Exactly. Like those are things.
Right. That's how you get that Michelin star.
I know, man.
And Chef, if we had a little Myers dark rum, is it a rum punch?
Yeah, we should have a cocktail also.
We should, yeah.
Yeah, hey, yeah, Rocco, you know, like I've often, you know, you're like one of the legends, and we talked about it earlier, but you know, I went to his restaurant in 2001, and in restaurant week, because I was a poor cook, cooks in New York City. I remember my checks was like, you know, I had enough to like just like get a Metro card, and we went for restaurant week because you go to this only way to get in these really fancy restaurants. And I remember being these epic moments, and my girlfriend at the time, who was not my wife, we both chatted about the you know experience. And there's a dish that was there was a soup with some popcorn thing. It was like a corn dish. It was the summer, and it was just really kind of special. So it's a pleasure to be here with you.
Thank you very much for remembering.
This is a new blender. It's smarter than I am, so I may make a mess. But here, so like literally, like you blitz it, and that's it. It's like 10 seconds. Just about to breaking it up and beating it up. Like literally, like, you could do this by hand. You could take it up and chop it up and mix it, but here it's just a lot easier. And then.
And so, Chef, you can do the chicken cut in half, cut in quarters. Looks like you have some 1/8 pieces.
Yeah, you could do anything. You know, in the restaurant, we want to make it really beautiful. And I love the idea of like dark meat and the white meat, you know, so they have like 2 different cuts of meat on the plate. And for me, it's important to make things look like they did previously in their life. Like, I don't want to make a chicken look like something you don't understand. We serve it with the foot. Like the foot goes on it because I want people to know that that was in a farm a week earlier in Pennsylvania, running around, you know, living its life, and not something that like we need to be like afraid of or the scary thing, you know. And we
Ron, can you highlight the top camera so we can see into that bowl? Looks like a very deep bowl with a lot of marinade, which I think is probably a pretty important part of this technique.
You know, you could put this in like a Ziploc bag, you know, like chicken, and I did, you know, you could marinate probably 3 more birds in here. You know, if you spread it out, but the idea is that like it's submerged. The only way to really get that salt to penetrate is to have it really sit in it.
And Chef, you marinate it for 24 hours, and then what do you do with it?
We do, and then we dry it. So we basically take them out because, like, you know, like moisture is the enemy of crispy things. Like we do ducks, we dry age ducks, and we dry them for 2-3 weeks so the moisture comes out of it, and it's like the crispiest bird that you're ever going to get. But if we just cooked it right away, it's still crispy, but it's not the same. So it's like Peking duck, it's the same kind of thing. It's like, you know, they like poach them and hang them and dry them and then roast them. You know, there are ways to kind of add different layers to this food, you know.
And that's a chef technique that most people wouldn't know to do at home, but you could do at home. If you guys are thinking, oh, that's too complicated for me, all the chef is talking about is taking the bird out of the marinated, you literally using a paper towel to dab it dry, and then leaving it uncovered on a rack in the refrigerator overnight. And that will dry out the skin and hopefully yield a very crispy skin. Anything else that you do to it, Chef?
Well, no, it's just drying it really, really well.
Yeah,
You know, like we hang ducks in our walk-in, and we have salt blocks underneath, and we have fins, and we have ways to keep the moisture very low. But you could literally get a duck from any supermarket, D'Artagnan, take the wrap off, and you put it in the fridge for 3 days. Like we dry for 2 weeks. But we have space and we have time, and I have a team, and I tell people to go do it, go down and hang the ducks. You know, like you can put the ducks in the fridge and let them hang out there for 2-3 days. We did it when we were on quarantine. You know, I called in a lot of favors from you know, my purveyors and vendors, and also wanted to spend money with them because we were all trying to support each other. And I was dry aging ducks in this fridge right behind us, you know. And so at this point, you want to brush it with a little bit of oil. And I was just saying that I need a pastry brush, which I don't have. So I'm gonna use my hands. And then nice sizzle. This is actually, I don't work for them or have any sponsorship, but this is like the best grill that I've used.
Yeah, it looks like a great little grill for the home kitchen.
I know, it's pretty
electric, I assume.
Pardon?
Electric, I assume.
Electric, yeah.
Yeah.
So
and if you guys want to try a Conroe grill, if you're ambitious and you have, you know, a great vent or a window, a small Conroe grill that can cost as low as $40 with some Vinchertan charcoal will yield amazing results.
Yeah, no,
Be careful though, right?
Yeah, I was actually tempted to get a green egg. This, so I live in the same building above the restaurant, and the last thing I want is to burn down the building where my business is also.
Wise choices, chef.
Okay, so while we're cooking,
right.
I want to jump to this grain salad.
Yes.
And so this grain salad, like literally, I have friends that ask me for this recipe. This is what I bring to people's houses, and it's something that's just simple and delicious. And so we have Freaka, and Freaka is a very cool grain, and I'll be quick. So it's wheat, and years ago in the town in near Rome or southern Italy, the team got sacked by like a rival clan or the Moors or something, and they burnt the whole field of wheat because they wanted to starve out everyone in the village. And then weeks later they went back to the field to see what happened, and instead of like ruining the crops, they toasted all the grains. So the grains have this really toasted, amazing kind of smokiness to it. So it's incredible. Someone tried to kill the whole village, and instead these guys have got this amazing product.
Created this new type of grain.
So we have Freaka, so it's a cracked wheat. And you cook this much like rice. It's 2-to-1. Add some salt, put a top, cook it. It cooks in 20 minutes. And lentils kind of same deal. You cook it, you boil it in water. It's not a ratio. You can put as much water as like boiling pasta. There's not like a math to it. You just put it in, you cook it till it's done. And then we have sunflower seeds, and we have some pumpkin seeds. And we have.
That sounds like a great mixture already.
Yeah, it's just delicious, man. I'm just trying to be healthy. It's like I lived my whole life in restaurants eating foie gras and like, duck fat and all these terrible things. And I just like felt like crap. And now I'm trying to, in my old age, I just turned 41. I'm trying to like be healthy. So this is butter and squash. And then we have a bunch of herbs. We have mint, we have cilantro. And like, honestly, like I make this with anything in the fridge. If you have leftovers, if you have leftover vegetables, cheese. In the summer, it would be tomatoes. In the spring, there'd be English peas and asparagus cut in. And so it's really just a simple grain salad.
Yeah, that base of grain and seeds is a really good place to start, and you can add a lot of seasonal flavors to that.
Yeah, and then so this is like spicy Northern African condiment called harissa. And this we make, it's with anchovy paste, it's chili. Avery, come here. Avery's my daughter.
Hi, Avery.
She ran away. She's harissa, it's anchovies. The grill is smoking us out.
I smell it. I can smell it from here.
Look and see what's happening over here before. All right.
We have a question, Chef, about gluten-free. Would you be okay with using quinoa?
Yeah, I love quinoa. Quinoa is literally like that's normally my like go-to.
Yeah.
Quinoa, teff, fregala. You could use rice.
Right.
This is just like a very simple, easy thing. So here,
Thanks for the question, Edith.
Yeah. So nice, good grill. Got some good marks. So this.
Yeah, so you're really looking for deep, rich mahogany marks on there, huh?
And so there's lots of sugar that from the fruit that was kind of pulled into the protein. So harissa. So we do like a spoonful or two of harissa, and we have a recipe that we sent out, and there's lots of like elements to it. And I would love your harissa recipe. It's on.
Hopefully, it's in the package of recipes that we just.
So I also get this harissa. It's Mina harissa. One of my childhood friends has this brand. It's amazing. So you can buy it in the store. All right, we need to stop this. This is killing us all in the house. So,
Chef, there's a question about if you don't have this grill, can it be done in a cast iron grill? Obviously, I'm sure we both agree that it can be done in a cast iron grill.
Absolutely, you could do this like here. Let me put it there.
And now he's going to finish it in the oven. Chef, what's the name of the grill again? Just give us the brand again.
It's Kenyan. It's made in the USA. It's made
Kenyan American. Okay,
yeah,
great. And it looks like it has a pretty small footprint.
Yeah, yeah. It's like 18 inches by like 12 inches.
Got it. Cool.
And also, what we're coughing are those chili because it was like there's habanero, like capsaicin, that's floating in the air right now that we're like breathing in.
Yeah, it's like
So
pepper spray. You basically have an improvised explosive device made out of capsaicin. Yeah. Bear spray.
I amazed my daughter. I'm sorry. Okay, so here. So we have a final bird.
How long's it take in the oven, chef?
I would say like 10 to 12 minutes. It depends on how far you take it on the grill. You could take it further on the grill and it's less time in the oven. Cooking is this dance. It's this balance. There's never really black and white. So here, let me
basically till it's warm inside, next to the thigh bone. Use a cake tester if you're not sure. Use a thermometer if you're really not sure. The tweezers that the chef is using to cook with, I've used in a pinch to determine doneness. You can poke your chicken with those. Just don't let the chef see you do that.
No, we use these little cake testers, and we poke, and there's definitely some of these tools. Hey, so Rocco, commented that I did the Boku store, and obviously it was 10 years ago. I was a young sous chef at 11 Madison Park, and it changed my life and introduced me to all these great people. But this is the plate that we plated for the competition.
Didn't know that.
This is the actual plate. And
good to know.
A light plate, but I stole it. I'm like, one of these is coming home with me. And so with this, what we do in the restaurant is, I like hiding food. I like covering food, and having people like kind of dig through things and find some surprises. So we, at the restaurant, we essentially build. This is a romaine, it's a little baby romaine, and we build this like.
Oh, I see your daughter. There she is.
Hey, say hi to everyone.
She snuck in behind you. Hi. Hi.
Yeah. She wants to help us plate. So Avery is part of the pastry team. Terrific. She goes downstairs and she bakes cupcakes and hangs out with the team down there. They love her. And they're not just saying that because I'm the chef. So we do this like shingled kind of point. And this is when you want to get creative and kind of make it look pretty. And these are.
How did you cut the chicken, chef? Did you leave it whole in this case? Do you normally cut it?
In the restaurant, we cut it into 2 or 3 slices.
Got it. Okay, great.
Like down.
And then you build a salad right on top. I've never seen that done. That's a great idea.
And because initially when we were doing R&D, I'm like, I want to serve it with a salad. So we like had it on the side. And then there's like taking it to the table. We're like, that's stupid. Like, like we just need another person. And, like restaurants are interesting businesses that labor like is what we need to manage at the moment. And it's like, let's find an easier way to do it. So we're just solving problems that end up having really great end results, thankfully. And this is
Diane McCabe is asking for the name of the grill again. It's Kenyon. Is that correct, chef? Kenyon.
Yeah, Kenyon.
Kenyon.
Yeah, and I got it on Wayfair.
Wayfair, great.
And it came like in the middle of COVID, like April 10th. It came in like a week. It's incredible. It's a lifesaver.
Chef Elite is asking, how long do you brown cook it in a pan to be fully done if you're doing it in a pan? I know it's obviously dependent on the size, but.
Yeah, there are all these things. It's really just, so you need to start with color. So you start by like caramelizing the skin and roasting it and grilling it. And that it depends on how hot the pan is. But so like you start with these visual cues before you really work through times. So like grill it, get good color, turn it over, get like a little bit of color, and then you can just pop it in the oven. It's probably a similar amount of time. Like this grill is very hot. Everyone's coughing. I apologize.
That's the last time you get to cook in your own kitchen, chef.
I know. I'm getting the boot. I'm getting the boot. So this.
Chef Kat is asking, is there some other type of chili paste in lieu of harissa that we could use?
Yeah,
she's not a fan of harissa.
I think as far as it's something that so it's really like whatever you think you like, whatever. If you like Frank's Red Hot, if you like Cholula, if you have another like just if you want to add chili flakes, it's really like this is such a simple thing that you can adapt and evolve to what feels good to you.
How about a spicy pepper jelly or onion jelly?
Yeah, of course, stuff like that. I like Red Hot. I like Frank's Red Hot. I like Cholula. I like acid based, like more like acidic than like really heat.
Understood.
And I like chili flakes too. I'd throw some chili or little Thai chilies, like a little bit of heat you can throw in, or even like just jalapenos. You could slice jalapenos or dice them and throw them in.
Have you tried the habanadas
Oh, I love
at the market? Those are great. They have just a little bit of heat, lots of sweetness, lots of flavor from the pepper. Those are something if you're ever going to the green market, and now you can buy them directly off Baldor. Habanadas are kind of fun.
Yeah, I think because like habaneros always scared me because they're just so spicy, but the flavor is amazing. It's just floral, fruity. So I never used them. And then, I was in Brazil it's like 6-7 years ago, and I found the random market, and they had these habanadas like before they were in the US. And I was like, what are these? And they had this amazing fruity flavor, but like the heat wasn't there. So we managed to kind of add heat to this with one habanero for, when we do that, we brine 10 birds. So the heat is manageable for me.
And Chef, there's another question about the rib bones. Are the rib bones left in the chicken? I think you said you like to leave that in during cooking to insulate the meat, but do you leave it in when you serve?
Yeah, so we take it off. We basically kind of carve it off the rib cage.
So after it's cooked, you debone.
Yeah. After it's cooked, we take the rib cage off. I've been actually, we've been like in an interesting space, and over the summer we've been doing these to go, and I've been throwing it in. I'm like, leave it in, because I like knowing these little bones too. Like that's a bone that I like eating. The joints of like the chicken knee is not something I want to eat, but these I like kind of chewing. So this is.
I hear you. I love it too.
So this is our Crown Chai hot sauce, and we basically ferment habaneros. And it's the same kind of thing. It's a 3%, 4% salt mixture. We season it. It's a brine, so we put it in this salt liquid, and we leave it to ferment for like 10 days. And then we basically use those as a base for this puree. And it has bell peppers, onions, garlics, aromatics, wine. And again, it's something that like we're going to bottle and sell this at some point. And obviously in COVID, we've been trying to find creative ways to add revenue to the business. And, we were kind of thinking through how to kind of add this to the business. We're doing it. At some point, you guys can purchase this. But this basically goes hand in hand.
It looks nice and thick. How do you maintain that consistency?
It's we call it a hot sauce, but it's really a puree,
Right.
So it's like a nice thick, onion pure.
Are you adding any gums or any thickeners?
No, we may, I think with this, we don't need to. If we need to fix things, we have all these hydrocolloids that we use, the things that we like. We use all these modern tools. We sous vide, we use hydrocolloids, we use liquid nitrogen, we do all these things. But for me, it's like we don't use it to say that we use it. We use them just because it's a tool that makes the food better.
Sure, it absolutely makes sense. Yeah. In some cases, yeah. There's a lot of chefs who use these ingredients and techniques for the sake of it. But I think we're at a point in the evolution of cooking and food and modern cooking where we know when to use these things and when to just leave them off the plate. Yeah. Cool. Chef, did you finish dressing your grain salad?
Yeah. So the grain salad is like literally like, here, you want to show it top down? Yeah. So this.
Oh, look at that. So beautiful.
So this is, I'm making a mess, but all the herbs and squash and grains. And this is what I like to eat. Like pre-COVID, we went plant-based for like 5 months. And then when COVID happened, I'm like, get me a steak. I'm like, I'm not going to make it without eating some animal meat. But this is like, we make this and put it in the fridge and this is our meal for a couple of days,
Terrific. And how do you dress the salad on top of the chicken? Is it dressed as it is?
Yeah. So we use a lemon vinaigrette. Like the vinaigrettes we use in the restaurant are super simple. It's just acid, salt, oil. We have a few that have some dashi or some like miso in it. But when it's not like a main component of the dish, and it's just to get acid, we use one simple vinaigrette, which is lemon, oil, salt, like the most basic.
Got it.
Vinaigrette.
Got it. So Chef, that answers Roberta Kopp's question. Is the grain salad dressed? Yes, it is. And Priscilla Davis wants to know where we can get the habanadas. Those I get from the Green Market in Union Square, either from Norwich Meadow Farms or from Baldor. Baldor also has them, baldorfood.com. And where do you buy the Freaka, Chef? Elite is asking.
We actually, you can get all the grains at Calustians, which everyone knows Calustians. If anyone that's on this knows Calustians, it's like classic New York spice, Indian spice, and and then
plus a bunch of modern food ingredients.
Yeah, they have everything.
They have everything now.
We also we order from Amazon. Amazon also has everything.
Yes, yes. Gone are the days where you can get away with an excuse. I couldn't find it. You can find it on the internet. I can find your social security number on the internet in 10 seconds. So you can find. I can find Freaka. Chef, let's check in with your sous chef, India Doris.
Cool.
See how she's doing. I think she's working on a mac and cheese that is also on the menu. India, you're there?
Hi, I'm here.
Hi, how are you, India?
Hi.
Is it true you're from England?
I am from London, England.
Amazing. How long have you been in the States?
I have been here for nearly 5 years now.
Wow, okay. Always in New York?
Say that again?
Always in New York?
Yeah, always in New York. I came to New York. I was supposed to be here for 1 year working with Chef James. And after a year, I was just like, you know what? They're going to have to kick me out because I love this city.
After 3 years in New York, voluntary 3 years, we consider you a New Yorker. So welcome, and hope you stay for a long time. Tell us a little bit about Rethink Food and why you chose it as your charity.
Rethink Food is incredible. Rethink Food is it's a nonprofit that reduces food insecurities, and they basically make it with more practical solutions. So at the moment, with obviously coronavirus and the pandemic, they have really made a huge difference and have helped communities that are struggling within the pandemic at the moment. So they have been a huge inspiration for many other people, many other communities. At Crownshire at the moment, we are currently sending about 900 pounds of food to Rethink. So that's a huge amount of food.
Incredible,
We're just one restaurant. So imagine they have a ton of restaurants that are involved in there and are partners within this company. So we are just one restaurant and we send 900 pounds worth of food.
They do a great job of marshaling the resources and the troops and all the chefs who are out of work
100%.
and getting all that labor put to good use to create food for people who have a hard time finding it.
100%. So if anyone's out there is interested in look online, look on Instagram, give them a show.
We've posted the appropriate links, and please feel free to click on those links and donate. It's a foundation I have worked with myself, and I can assure you the dollars go to good use. Chef, I know you're making your mac and cheese. I spend a lot of time messing with mac and cheese to try to perfect it and constantly make it better and better. Can't wait to see what you do with it.
Oh, definitely. It's definitely it's got a little twist, it's got a little twist on what people normally put in there. But anyway, so
mac and cheese is hard. People don't know it's hard.
Mac and cheese is a difficult thing. And it can just be, for me, how I see mac and cheese, it can just be the same flavors over and over again. It's the same cheddar, it's the same Gruyere, it's the same cheese flavor over and over again. So I have a little bit of a different twist on it, which I find a little bit more interesting. So I have my flour, I have my butter, I have my 2 different types of cheese. Here I have a cheddar cheese and a Gruyere cheese. I like to mix the cheeses up. They work really well together. So, and then I also have my salt, and then this is where my twist comes in. I have my Espelette pepper. Espelette just gives a little bit of spice in there. Not too much. It's very delicate spice, but it does give a little bit of a hint to it, and it does give a little bit of color to it. And then also I have Worcestershire sauce. Now, I am English, obviously, as everybody knows, and Worcestershire sauce is a huge inspiration into mac and cheese, into anything that I do. And a lot of, pretty much every household in England probably has Worcestershire sauce.
And do you call it Worcestershire or Worcester?
Worcestershire.
Worcestershire. That's going to end 100 years of debate in America. Thank you for that.
A lot of people have trouble with saying that. but it's
Yes.
it's fairly simple.
Or Chestershire.
No, Worcestershire, and then
Cool.
I have a little Dijon. So
Great.
I'm gonna take this over. I'm gonna take my little tray of stuff over. And we're
Okay. All right.
So
Cool. Let's see that top shot, Ron. Want to see what's going on in her pan? There we go. Beautiful. Wow.
all right. So I got my butter here, and I'm just gonna drop my butter in the pan, and I'm gonna turn that on a medium heat. And you want it to like melt. You don't want any color at all. You don't want anything, any color, any browning. You want just completely melted butter. So
Okay.
the next thing.
So what you're doing is making a basic roux.
We're making a basic roux. We're making a basic roux. Nothing special here. Just a basic roux, and it basically helps combine the milk into the sauce. So once the butter is melted, which is here shortly, you're gonna add your flour into that, and you're gonna cook the flour out. Okay, it's very important to cook the flour out. You don't want to add the milk in, which the milk is here. I got my milk in a pan ready to go, and the milk is just gonna sit on the simmer right here. You don't want your milk to go in too early. You really want the flour and the butter to cook out. So it's gonna look like a dough in a pan at the beginning. So like this, it's gonna look like a dough, like any regular dough that you come across. But you really want it to just cook out. Now, if you add the milk in too soon, basically you're gonna have a very grainy sauce. And no one wants a grainy sauce. We don't want a grainy sauce. We want a nice, smooth, silky sauce. In order for that to happen, you have to cook the flour out. So it takes a couple of minutes, and you gotta just keep stirring it and moving it around. If you let it sit for too long, then the flour will color. You'll get a golden color, and you don't want a golden color. You want a nice, creamy, white cheese sauce. So you really have to just move that around as regular as possible.
The chef, there are some times where you do want darker roux, but not in this case. In this case, we want a blonde, I think what you'd call a blonde roux, if I'm not mistaken, correct?
Exactly. There are definitely, like in a lot of recipes where you do color the flour and you do color the roux, but in this particular recipe, we want a nice blonde, like you said, cheese sauce. So in order for us to do that, we have to continuously move the flour and butter mixture around. So once you move it around, you will start to see that it starts to go beyond the dough, and it starts to split a little bit, and it starts to, the fat starts to remove itself, and you start to see it splitting. You grab the spatula and it starts to remove itself from the spatula. That's when you know it's completely cooked. So when it gets to that point, you really just want to add your milk. You add 1 ladle of milk in, and once you add the milk in, you stir, and you combine that milk in, and then it will bring it back, and then it won't look so split, and then it will look like a dough again.
And so what we're making is bechamel sauce. This is the base for your cheese sauce. Is that correct, chef?
Bechamel sauce, a base for the bechamel sauce. So you see it's starting to look like a dough again. You want to add another ladle, and you want to mix that in. And you want to have a whisk aside, because at one point we're going to bring in the whisk, and the whisk is going to do the job. So we're going to give that a good mix.
While you're mixing, chef, I'm going to answer a few questions. The heat was a medium to high heat for anonymous attendee. Person won't reveal their name. And Diane, if you wanted to do a slurry of arrowroots, that would be a very different kind of sauce, but it would work, and it would not break when you add the cheese. The roux makes for a very thick, sturdy sauce, but if you're a gluten-free person, then arrowroot, cornstarch, lots of modified starches will work in its place.
100%, yeah. You could definitely adjust it to your specific, you know, allergies or anything like that, or aversions, you can definitely adjust it in that perspective. For this, yeah, you can definitely. But like for me, I add it bit by bit just to avoid splitting the sauce. So when it comes to this point, you see it starts to become a little bit more, it starts to become a little softer. I'm just gonna add a little bit more, and I'm gonna use a whisk. So it doesn't clump up. We use a whisk just to whisk all these lumps out. And once it can take a little bit of fat, it's gonna take a little bit more. So instead of adding 1 ladle, you're gonna add a ladle and a half.
And so you're using a whisk to make sure it's smooth, you don't have lumps. If it turns out you have a lot of lumps at the end and they really bother you, you can always strain them through a china cap, a chinois, a passoire, but don't let the lumps get in the way of your good time. It's not a big deal.
Exactly. You can definitely just use, you know, a sieve or whatever to pass the lumps out. I like to get in there early and use a whisk.
And Chef, do you have your pasta cooked at this point?
I do have my pasta cooked.
Perfect. So that's something you can do ahead of time. Did you chill the pasta, or are you keeping it warm?
So I have my pasta here. I have my pasta here. It's cooked. I tossed it in a little bit of olive oil. Once it was cooked, I cooked it for about 5 minutes. I'm using elbows. I added a little bit of olive oil. I tossed in a little bit of olive oil so it doesn't stick. And that's ready to go here. So I've got that in a bowl. So at this point, the flour's cooked, the milk is emulsified, and I think I'm ready to add my cheese. So I have my cheese here. I'm gonna add my cheese to this. That's gonna thicken up. So when you originally add the milk, you want it to be a little bit looser to what you originally want your sauce to be, because you're gonna add the cheese is gonna thicken it up. So just think it's gonna be a little bit looser to what you originally what you originally want it to look like.
Because it just gets thicker and thicker and thicker as we go, right?
Exactly, 100%, exactly.
And is that British cheddar, English cheddar? I hope so, because we all know it's better.
I mean, some might say, you know what I mean? some might say. Everyone's trying to get me
English
now.
cheddar, French Gruyere. And this is right off the menu, right?
Say that again?
This dish is on the menu at Crown Shy, is that correct?
It was at one point, but we're back and forth.
Got it. Got it. I have a feeling
Um,
people will be asking soon. You're gonna have to toss it out for next week.
All right, so I'm gonna add Dijon mustard, and
Perfect.
my intake with mac and cheese is that, like, mac and cheese is incredible. I love mac and cheese. I grew up on mac and cheese.
Agreed.
The only things, my mom can't cook, and she's gonna hate me for saying this, but my mom can't cook, and the only thing my mom could cook was mac and cheese, and she did an incredible job at cooking mac and cheese, and the only thing she could cook was mac and cheese. And we used to put a little Dijon mustard, and my only insult with mac and cheese is that it was the same exact flavor over and over again. So to have something that kind of cuts the edge is really useful. So for me, Dijon mustard is the thing that cuts the edge.
It's great because it's got the acidity of the vinegar that goes into the mustard, plus the mustard itself. It has a really, it's almost like a horseradish flavor. So it's gonna be a great foil, and it's gonna cut through all the richness of that mac and cheese sauce.
Whatever you said, exactly that.
Oh, what's this?
Oh,
this is dark and mysterious ingredient.
So I've got a little Worcestershire sauce. So this is
got it.
Sauce. This is another thing that I really think is vital in mac and cheese. So mac and cheese, like I said, the same thing over and over again. It's just cheese sauce over and over again. So you need something to cut the edge, right? So Worcestershire sauce for me, it really cuts the edge because it's sweet, it's salty, it's vinegary, and that's why I love to put that in. So I'm just gonna put, and I actually have a really cool, a little history lesson on Worcestershire sauce. So Worcestershire sauce has an incredible story. It actually was created by two chemists, one called John Lee and one called William Perry. And they were both chemists who were in India at the time, and they discovered all these incredible flavors. And as they discovered these incredible flavors, they came back to their town in England called Worcestershire. Worcester. And they tried to create their own sauce. And they created their own sauce. They realized it was a terrible sauce. They done a terrible job. And it was a terrible sauce they made. So they kept the sauce in a jar in their cellar. And then about 3 or 4 years later, they came back to the sauce and realized, oh my God, incredible. This sauce is great. They tried it again. And that's how Worcestershire sauce came about. It was completely
amazing. Lee and parents, there they are.
Lee and parents, yeah, exactly.
So does the pasta go into the pot of boiling bechamel, or do you take it out and mix it in a bowl? What's your technique here, Chef?
I normally just take my pasta and put it straight into the sauce. I give it a good.
No, it's great. It's all nice and hot and mixed together while it's hot. And then do you like to bake your mac and cheese, or do you serve it straight out of the pot?
I think it's completely necessary to bake the mac and cheese.
Ah, terrific.
So I'm gonna.
So we get that into a mold or a baking dish of some kind, and you bake it in a traditional oven, not a microwave oven, of course. Oh, look at that. It looks so good.
Into the dish.
Oh my goodness.
You're gonna take a little
gorgeous.
bit of the cheese that you had, and you're gonna put a little cheese on top. I like to put an extra Worcestershire just because.
I use Worcestershire in everything. I love Worcestershire. There's only one thing that keeps coming up for people who are vegan or vegetarian. There is a little bit of anchovy in Worcestershire, so just keep that in mind. They make it without now for vegans, but if you're 100% pure vegan, just keep in mind there's a little bit of anchovy in there.
All right, so I'm gonna put this in the oven right now.
And then we serve that with a kale salad. Am I right?
All right, so we're gonna go into the kale salad. So we're gonna switch up. We're gonna go into the kale salad.
Sounds good.
All right, so.
I see you. We see you.
All right. You see me?
Yep.
All right, so kale salad. We got anchovy essence. At the restaurant, we make our own anchovy essence, but you can definitely find somewhere that sells a company that sells incredible anchovy essence.
You're talking about just tinned anchovies, right?
Just tinned anchovies,
Got it. Yep.
like anchovy paste, anything like that.
Okay.
And then we go, so you're basically kind of making a mayonnaise, and then you got egg yolks. I've got egg yolks here. I've got Dijon mustard again, one of my friends, back again. Olive oil and grapeseed oil mixture sitting right here. And then I've got a little bit of vinegar and Parmesan. That all goes in a blender. And it ends up looking a little bit like this.
Beautiful. Is that a riff on a Caesar salad dressing, Chef?
This is, yeah.
A little bit of a riff, but I mean, obviously it doesn't have all the same ingredients, but.
Pretty much, yeah.
Those are good flavors. I don't blame you.
I mean, they're incredible flavors. You could, if it was me, if I was at home, I'd probably hit the Worcestershire sauce in there, but I'm just saying. So it ends up being smooth like this. So what I do is I take my kale. I have black kale here, black kale. You can take any kale. You can take any lettuce as well. I love a little romaine lettuce to do that with as well. And you're going to take the kale and you're going to rip it up.
And how do you feel about massaging the kale? Is that a thing that you espouse?
Yeah, 100%.
Why not? Why not, right?
Why not? Like, if you're at home, in a restaurant, maybe not, but if you're at home, 100%. Like, you should definitely, like chopping kale, I'm not a fan of. You got to really just rip it and tear it apart. The same with herbs.
It does make it a bit more tender.
It makes a difference. And you also don't want to bruise the kale. So I have a salad spinner. If you've got a salad spinner at home, please use it. If you don't, invest in it. It's great. So you just take this. You're going to wash the kale. You're going to give it a good spin in my salad spinner. Like that. And you're going to take a bowl, add your kale to it.
The salad spinners used to be an expensive, hard to find thing. Now they are virtually everywhere, literally everywhere.
Oh.
And they're $5. So no excuses there. Get yourself a salad spinner.
They're incredible. You should definitely invest in one. So I got my salad.
Yeah, give that a toss.
I got my.
Give that a toss and serve it with the.
Yeah, here we go.
Yep.
You're gonna mix that guy in.
And so I've learned that with kale salad, you can mix it a little more than normal, gem lettuce, romaine lettuce, butter lettuce. It's got a little more heft to it. It's sturdier, and it won't break apart, and it won't sort of fall apart into nothingness. It's very, very sturdy.
It's got an incredible volume to it. It's got an incredible texture to it. It's definitely not like any other lettuce or anything that you've ever seen before. So,
Chef, do you have the beauty of the mac and cheese that we can see?
Oh yeah, it's in the oven right now, baking.
All right. Okay, cool. Can we have a look at it before we move on?
Yeah.
Thank you. And Chef James, I'm sure you're ready with the beauty of the chicken. Let's see that beauty. Hold it up to the camera. It's gorgeous.
Well, this is the mac and cheese right here. It baked in the oven. It's looking great.
How long has that been in the oven?
That was left in for about 20 minutes, 15
Beautiful.
minutes. And then
Beautiful.
it is ready to go. And then I just baked off a little Parmesan that I shredded and baked, and they turn into little crisps like that.
Look at you.
And then you just stick it on the top, make it look fancy.
Freaka. Wow.
You're a fancy guest right now. You're
Beautiful,
a fancy
beautiful. Can you do me a favor and just take a spoon and crack into that mac and cheese so we can see
100%.
what's going on? Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh.
It's got a little cheese accent right there. It's all cheese with me. It's all cheese. You got the kale Caesar salad with the Parmesan crisp, and you got the little mac and cheese with the nice.
So British of you. So British of you. Thank you, Chef. Thank you, Chef India. Thank you, Chef James. James, if you're there and you want to pop up and show us the chicken, we'd love to see it. We really appreciate.
Hey, Rocco, I was really close to eating this. Literally, I was about to take a bite, and they were like, "Get the beauty ready." I'm like, "No, let me put."
I was really close to eating it myself, and I'm 3,000 miles away from you. Thank you both, Chef India Doris and Chef James Kent. If you haven't been to Crown Shy, run, do not walk. It's an amazing place full of amazing people. Check out Rethink Food, and thank you once again to the Downtown Alliance for hosting and producing and doing all the work behind the scenes that it takes to get these cooking classes on the air for you. Coming up soon is Nobu on February 11th and Francis Tavern on February 25th. We thank you. And don't forget to post your plate on Instagram. Someone will win a cooking class with either Chef James or Chef India. And that'll be really, really fun. Thank you, Ron. Thank you, Shelley. Thank you, Craig. Thank you, everybody at the Downtown Alliance. And mostly thank you, Thomas and Kathy and Edith and Diane and Elite and Sandra and Suzanne and Adrian and all the people who watch every time. We appreciate it. Over and out for now. See you soon.